Education Hub. So, in today's class, we'll be covering a few topics of childhood and growing up. Let's see the table of content for the day. First, we'll be talking about meaning of psychology. Then we'll move on to definitions of psychology. Then we'll be covering meaning of educational psychology, then definitions of educational psychology, and the last topic is need of educational psychology to a teacher. Right? Let's move on. So, psychology. So, this word psychology has been changing, over decades, right? The meaning of this particular term psychology. Earlier, it was part of philosophy. It was studied as part of philosophy. But in 1950, the term psychology came into existence and it was considered as a different domain. Okay, so when we talk about psychology, it is made up of two Greek words. What are those Greek words? Psych and logos. What is the meaning of psych? Psych means soul. Logos means science of study. So basically, the meaning of psychology is the study of behavior, or we can tell science of behavior. So psychology is science of behavior. Let's move on to the definitions. So there are a lot of definitions given by various psychologists. I have considered two definitions here. You can kindly refer this, or else if you want few more definitions, you can definitely go and search for some other definitions as well. But I find these two definitions very easy to by heart and very easy to understand, and that is the reason I have considered these two definitions. So the first definition is given by J.B. Watson. He says psychology is the positive science of behavior. And then we have another definition by Crow and Crow. He says psychology is the study, it's of, not if, sorry. Psychology is a study of human behavior and human relationship. Isn't it? When you talk about behaviors, there are diverse behavior that a human shows, right? And there are very complex human relationships, right? So psychology is all about the study of human behavior and how human develops the relationship and how that particular human being reacts to a particular situation, or how his behavior changes according to the situations. All these things are part of psychology. So this definition is very very apt, which says psychology is the study of human behavior and human relationships. Right? I hope you have by now understood what is the meaning and definition of psychology. Let's move on to educational psychology. Right? So when we talk about educational psychology, there are two words which are joined together, which which means educational psychology. What are those two words? Education and psychology, isn't it? So education, what is the meaning of education? Education means the process of all round development in a child. What do we mean by all round development? Mentally, socially, physically, morally, right? There are different diverse way that a child develops. So what can we tell? All round development of child. Education helps in the all round development of the child. So it's a process. It's not 1 or 2 days thing that we'll attain education. It's a process, lifetime of process, right? And then we have psychology. As you have studied, is the process of studying behavior of an individual or human behavior. So together, when we coin these meaning, we get educational psychology. So you can write meaning as it is a branch of psychology where psychological principles are being applied in educational field, right? So it is a branch of psychology where psychological principles There are various principles and theories of psychology that you will be applying in educational field, and that particular domain is called as educational psychology. It is part of psychology, but a different branch where you study about the children in educational domain, how children react, how child develops, what are the diverse way a child learns. There are diverse ways, so you learn about all these things in educational psychology. I hope you have understood the meaning. Let's move on to the definitions. So there are two definitions, as I told, very simple and easy definitions that I have picked. The first definition is by Peel. So, educational psychology is the science of education, isn't it? What is science? It is all about research, your observation, right? So, it's all about science of education. Then we have one definition by Skinner, which is educational psychology is the branch of psychology which deals with teaching and learning, isn't it? We teach and then the student learn, and then this is a process, this is ongoing process, and in this process you will be learning about various psychological terms, right? So when you teach a child, there are various things that are going on in the mind of the child, where the child does not like the subject, the child does not like the child is not able to understand a particular term. How do you connect with the child in terms of his his cognitive skills, in terms of his intellectual power? How are you able to connect with the child psychologically, and then you put your education, your thoughts into his mind, your knowledge into his mind? It's all about educational psychology. See, it's educational psychology is a branch of psychology which deals with teaching and learning. So it's all about educational psychology. And need of educational psychology for a teacher. Why is it needed for a teacher, or why is it important for a teacher to learn educational psychology? The first point is to know and understand the learner. As I told you, that each student is unique and have different interests. And when you study educational psychology, it helps the teacher to know students' needs, interests, and ability. Then we have to use suitable teaching methods. So there are, as I said, different style of learning, right? So as a teacher, you have to connect with each student and should make sure that each student understands that what you're able to teach. So for that, educational psychology is very important because it helps in choosing the right method for teaching a particular student. Then we have third point, which is to know individual differences. So every child is unique and different, and to understand each child, educational psychology plays a vital role. Then we have to provide good learning environment. So educational psychology helps in creating a safe, happy, and motivating classroom, and it also helps the teacher to maintain the discipline in the class, right? Then we have to solve classroom problems. So there are multiple learning problems that a child will be going through, and when you understand this educational psychology, the teacher will be able to deal with each child in a different way, right? Then we have to guide and counsel students. So, as I told, there are multiple learning problems that a child will be going through, and there are multiple problems, mental problems, or difficulties that a child will be facing. And that point of time, teacher has a vital role to play to give proper guidance, to counsel the students in the right manner, to make their behavior proper, or in a good manner. So for that, educational psychology is very important, and that is the reason it's very important for a teacher to have the knowledge of educational psychology. Let's move on to the last point, to understand growth and development. So the development of the child, it happens in a vital way, in a very different, diverse way. Physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, socially, there are different growth and development happening in all such areas. And it's very important for a teacher to know the growth, how the child is developing in terms of physical development, right? At the same time, it's not necessary that the child grows mentally also at the same stage. There might be some hindrances, and that's when the education psychology plays an important role, where the teacher understands that how the child is developing, and if there is any problem, how the teacher has to face certain problems, how to counsel, and how to basically see how the child grows. So it's very important for a teacher to know educational psychology, and these were few points that I have listed out, but there are multiple other important needs as well, so you can definitely go and explore. And this comes to end of our session. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any doubt, please do reach out to me in the comment box. Have any doubt, please do drop a comment in my comment box, and please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Education Hub. We'll meet up in the next video. Thank you.